What's up, guys? Welcome back to Political Trends. There are many problems with modern-day feminism that we won't get into today. However, it's always fun to watch these self-proclaimed feminists. Watch as their arguments on their points get torn to shred or destroyed. In today's video, we will be taking a look at those moments. Anyway, let's dive in. Number 1. Here we have a clip of a feminist saying that air conditioning is sexist and that the temperature is regulated to be comfortable to males and not females. This woman apparently can't read social cues because she fails to realize that the reporter is mocking and making fun of her.
There it was. There I was thinking it was just me that had a problem, but it turns out it's the air conditioning that's sexist.
I know. So many women in our office have the exact same problem. You know, we just sit there absolutely freezing at our desks trying to type. You can probably tell I've got a cold right now, which I blame all on the AC. And so it's just so actually quite nice to see this research. It's just such a relief to know that there's actually proof that this is happening, that women, you know, do feel the cold more.
You can't get any more ridiculous than this. This woman actually thinks that AC favoring males is a top priority issue. So much so, she felt the need to go on Sky News and get interviewed on her beliefs.
More than men, and that the AC in offices is normally regulated more for a male's temperature than a woman's.
And it's an explanation for these constant battles you'll see in offices right across the country between the sexes for control of that office thermostat.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, one of the biggest problems is that often in offices, it is men who control temperatures. You know, that's just something I've found anecdotally. And because majority of the men in offices seem to be absolutely fine with the temperatures, you know, women kind of just sit there on the corner feeling absolutely frozen. And, you know, often, like, actually nothing's being done to help them. And, you know, it might sound like a bit of a silly, light-hearted issue, but actually it's really uncomfortable being freezing at your desk every day.
Number 2. Coming up next is a clip of which Ronda Rousey, which is the highest paid UFC fighter, gets asked a question about if she's frustrated that in other sports like soccer, women aren't getting paid as much as males are. And I think she regretted asking that question.
Ronda, Lauren down here from the Herald Sun again. Just another quick one about Angela's question on equality just before. We've got quite a large pay dispute happening with our Australian women's soccer team at the moment. Is it frustrating for you as someone who's so prominent in your sport, and we heard you say on the Ellen show the other day you are the richest fighter in UFC, that sort of thing is still going on?
I bet the girl that asked that question expected Rousey to be on her side because she was a female, but little did she know that she would be quite the opposite. Rousey made an amazing point and said that she felt like an athlete should be paid in proportion of how much money they're bringing in, not just get paid equally because of their gender.
How much you get paid should have something to do with how much money you bring in. I'm the highest paid fighter, not because Dana and Lorenzo wanted to do something nice for the ladies. They do it because I bring in the highest numbers. They do it because I make them the most money. And I think that the money that they make should be proportionate to the money that they bring in.
Number 3. This feminist got extremely triggered when a male news anchor poked fun at the fact that feminists get offended very easily. The funny part, however, is that she proved this point. As soon as the anchor finished his joke, the woman started going crazy, even threatening not to come back on the show.
Really have a right to be treated respectfully.
We are unfortunately running out of time, but Peter, I just want to get one final thought from you. Are there words that are used to describe men that offend you?
Not particularly, and if there are some I don't like, I certainly wouldn't want them banned, but it always goes back to that old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but there will always be something to offend a feminist.
Peter
Lloyd. No, that's just obnoxious.
Peter
Sorry,
Lloyd,
you have to give me a chance to respond to that. That is ridiculous. No, hang on, I won't do your show again if you don't let me respond to that.
Kate.
If you think the anger ended there, well, you'd be wrong. She kept on rambling and yelling this news anchor, saying things like, "How dare you?" And she beautifully keeps getting offended, which only keeps proving the point that the anchor wants to get across. And that is, of course, that feminists often get offended over the slightest unimportant thing.
Have a word.
Come on, that's ridiculous. I mean, first of all, to allow somebody on air, this is a women's rights movement. We're asking for equality, and to just come on and say that kind of thing. And secondly, he keeps saying this is a trivial issue, that it doesn't happen very often. The reality, as you know from talking to women in the street, is that they all have words that bother them. This is something that affects loads and loads of women, and if he's not affected by it, well, lucky him. And if he thinks he's going to take that privilege and just wander on air and say obnoxious things about a campaign for equality, then that is horrific.
Number 4. Here we have a clip of the infamous Milo Yiannopoulos tearing down the argument that a feminist journalist was making about women having the same intellectual properties that males have. Yiannopoulos brought out science to prove that her argument simply was not true.
One gender is encouraged to pursue, a sport or an art more so than the other. And actually, when you look at my colleague at the Telegraph, Radhika Sagani, she wrote a piece just this morning speaking to young girls who play chess, and actually what she found out is that they're dropping out at the age of 12, probably because they're not encouraged, or there's an environment around that's telling them that it's not for them, it's not cool, etc., etc. So this hardwired brain stuff, it's retrosexism.
As you can see, her reasoning behind why females are dropping out of chess classes is that the environment caters more to males. And then Yiannopoulos actually confirms this, but not in a way that makes the journalist's argument stand.
We also know it from experiments that we do on young children before they've had the opportunity to be socialized, the sorts of toys that they go for. And that holds true actually for other bits of the animal kingdom as well. Some of the reason why girls drop out of STEM subjects at college and chess clubs is because they keep losing. And one of the reasons they keep losing is that it does seem to be the case that chess as a game plays to some of the male intellectual virtues. And when Simon Baron-Cohen talks about these, the way he describes it is men are good at systematizing and women are good at empathizing.
Number 5. In the clip you're about to see, the one and only Ben Shapiro gets asked by a feminist on his thoughts about the transgender people. Shapiro starts mentioning how gender isn't malleable and transgender people should identify as their biological sex. However, it's this ending of this clip that's absolutely hilarious. Stick around.
Pretending, or if I did, I shouldn't have said pretending, let me amend.
You said playing.
Okay, I said a boy who thinks he's a girl. That's the usual phraseology I use. Not playing, I usually say a boy who thinks he's a girl or a girl who thinks he's a boy, which is technically what we're talking about here. The idea that sex or gender are malleable is not true. Okay, and I'm not denying your humanity if you're a transgender person. I am saying that you are not the sex to which you claim to be. But if you are going to dictate to me that I'm supposed to pretend that men are women and women.
After Shapiro is finished speaking, the girl jumps in and tries to oppose his argument about transgender people. Shapiro makes an analogy about how a transgender male shouldn't be allowed in the Boy Scouts. And that's when she said something rather stupid.
Are men? No. My answer is no. I'm not going to modify basic biology because it threatens your subjective sense of what you are.
Okay, but you're still saying these kids should not be accepted because they don't really fit in either place? They can't just
I'm saying that the Boy Scouts have a standard. You must be a biological boy to be a Boy Scout. You have to be a boy to be a Boy Scout.
Where's that written though? Okay.
In the name Boy Scouts. because it.
As you can see by all these clips, most modern-day feminists have trouble not getting offended and seem to be unable to formulate arguments that don't sound completely ignorant. Anyways, that brings us to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like and subscribe for more content like this and much more. Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys in our next video.